The box had my name carved into its lid, but I didn't recognise the handwriting. Standing there in my grandmother's dusty attic, heart pounding against my ribs, I knew this discovery would change everything. My name is Evangeline, and until that moment, I thought I knew the story of my life. Single mom raised me after Dad bailed before I was born, tale as old as time, right? But that wooden box hidden behind decades of Christmas decorations and moth-eaten quilts screamed otherwise. "Eve, you okay up there?" Mum's voice floated up through the attic hatch. We were supposed to be clearing out Gran's house after the funeral, not digging up mysteries. "Yeah, just found some old photos," I called back, quickly tucking the box under my jacket. Something in my gut said this wasn't for her eyes, not yet. Back in my old bedroom, now a guest room that still held echoes of my teenage years, I examined the box more closely. Evangeline Taylor, private, was etched in careful artistic strokes. A small brass lock held its secrets. I texted Cole, "Found something weird in Gran's attic. Need your lock-picking skills." He replied almost instantly, "On my way. Better be worth missing the game for." 20 minutes later, Cole was perched on my childhood bed, working on the lock with paper clips. "You know your mum's gonna flip if this is something shady," he warned. "Since when do you care what my mum thinks?" The lock clicked open. Inside, yellowed envelopes were stacked neatly, each addressed simply, "To my daughter." The handwriting matched the carving on the box. With trembling fingers, I opened the first letter. "My dearest Evangeline, if you're reading this, you're old enough to understand truth isn't always what we're told. I've tried reaching you so many times, but the walls built around you are high. I hope one day you'll find these letters and know I never abandoned you. I never stopped fighting to be your father, your mother. Eve," Mum's voice outside the door made me jump. I shoved the letter under my pillow just as she walked in. "What are you two doing up here?" Her eyes narrowed at Cole's tools. "Just showing Eve some lock-picking tricks," Cole said smoothly. "Never know when it might come in handy." Mum's gaze lingered on the bed, where the corner of an envelope peeked out. "Dinner's ready downstairs. Cole, you're welcome to join us." "Actually, I should head out," he said, squeezing my hand. "Call me later." After he left, I retrieved the letter, reading further while my dinner grew cold downstairs. The words painted a different history, one of court battles, restraining orders, and a father who apparently lived just 2 states away in a coastal town called Pine Harbor. The final paragraph made my blood run cold. "I hope you find me before she buries the rest of the truth. There's so much you don't know, so much that was hidden. I'm still here, still waiting, still creating art with you in mind. Look for Lucas Graham. Look for the truth. Lucas Graham." A name I'd never heard, yet apparently belonged to the man who helped create me. I grabbed my laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard. Within minutes, I found him, an artist known for haunting portraits, his gallery located in Pine Harbor. My phone buzzed. "Mom, your dinner's getting cold." I stared at the message, then at the letter in my hand. 27 years of believing one story, only to find evidence of another. The man I'd been taught to hate as my abandoner had been writing to me all along. Mum called up again. "Evangeline! Coming!" I shouted back, but my mind was already racing ahead. Pine Harbor was only a 6-hour drive. I could be there by tomorrow afternoon. I tucked the box of letters into my overnight bag, already planning my excuse for a sudden road trip. One line from the letter kept echoing in my head. "I hope you find me before she buries the rest of the truth." Well, Dad, if that's really who you are, I'm about to start digging. I waited until morning to confront Mom, clutching one of the letters like a shield as I entered the kitchen. She was at the counter, methodically stirring her coffee. 3 clockwise, 2 counterclockwise, same as always. "Who's Lucas Graham?" I asked, watching her spoon clatter against porcelain. She didn't turn around. "Where did you hear that name?" "Found these in Gran's attic." I placed the letter on the counter. Want to explain why my father's letters were locked away. Mum's shoulders stiffened. That man is not your father. He's a liar who couldn't handle responsibility. Really? Because these letters tell a different story. Court battles, restraining orders. She spun around, her face twisted with an anger I'd never seen before. You want the truth? Fine. Lucas was a selfish artist who chose his precious paintings over us. He was unstable, dangerous. I did what I had to do to protect you. Protect me by hiding letters addressed to me, by making me believe he abandoned us. You were better off without him. She snatched the letter, crumpling it in her fist. Whatever fantasy he wrote in these, they're lies, all of it. I grabbed my phone, pulling up the gallery website. He's still in Pine Harbour, still painting, still... Drop it, Evangeline. Her voice went ice cold. Some doors should stay closed. I backed away, my chest tight with fury. I'm 27, Mum. You don't get to decide which doors I open anymore. Cole was waiting at our usual coffee shop, looking like he hadn't slept. You're really going to drive 6 hours to meet some stranger who might be your dad? He's not a stranger, he's the guy who wrote some letters decades ago, Cole cut in. Eve, this is crazy. Your mum. My mom lied to me my entire life. Several heads turned our way. I lowered my voice. Aren't you even a little curious why? Of course I am. But rushing off to Pine Harbour isn't the answer. What if he's dangerous? What if everything I believed about my life is wrong? I stood up, gathering my things. I have to know, Cole. Are you with me or not? He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. I can't just drop everything for this wild goose chase. I have meetings all week, the promotion coming up. Right, your perfectly planned life. I shouldered my bag. Call me when you're ready to deal with something real. The drive to Pine Harbour took longer than expected. Rain pelted my windshield as I followed GPS directions to the gallery address, my stomach churning with each mile marker. But when I finally pulled up, the building was dark, boarded up. A for lease sign hung in the window, edges curled from weather exposure. No, I whispered, pressing my face against the grimy glass. Inside I could make out empty walls, abandoned easels, the ghost of what must have been a thriving art space. He moved out 3 months ago, I whirled around. An elderly woman stood on the porch across the street, watching me intently. Are you looking for Lucas? She asked. Yes, I'm his... The words stuck in my throat. She descended her porch steps slowly, eyes never leaving my face. You look just like her, you know, when she was young. Like who? Catherine, your mother. She smiled sadly. Though you have Lucas's eyes, creative eyes, he called them. My heart stopped. You know them? Both of them? Oh yes, I watched it all fall apart. She glanced at the empty gallery. I'm Edith, Lucas's aunt, and you, my dear, are opening a very old wound. Please, I said, rain soaking through my jacket. I need to know the truth. Edith studied me for a long moment. Truth's a dangerous thing in this town. But come inside. There's something Lucas left for you, just in case you ever came looking. I followed her across the street, my feet heavy with dread and hope. Whatever waited inside that house would either answer my questions or spawn 1,000 more. Either way, there was no turning back now. Edith's living room was a time capsule of faded photographs and dusty artwork. She gestured to an armchair while shuffling through a drawer in an ancient desk. Tea? She asked, not looking up. I'd rather have answers. She pulled out a thick manila envelope. Lucas knew you'd come someday. Said you had his stubborn streak. She settled into the chair opposite me. But first, tell me how you found us. I explained about the box in the attic. With each detail, Edith's expression darkened. Those letters were never meant to be hidden, she said. Lucas wrote them every month for years. He'd mail them to your mother's sister, Abigail, who promised to give them to you secretly. Aunt Abigail? I hadn't seen her since I was 12. She was involved? Until Catherine caught her. The fallout was spectacular. Edith handed me the envelope. These are the letters that never made it to the box, the ones that tell the whole story. My hands trembled as I opened the first one, dated just 5 years ago. Dearest Evangeline, today I filed another appeal to overturn the restraining order. Your mother's lawyers are good. They've painted me as unstable, dangerous, all because I refused to stop fighting for you. The truth, I never abandoned you. Catherine filed the order when she discovered I was seeing someone new. She threatened to tell the police I was stalking you unless I disappeared completely. She had witnesses lined up, ready to testify. I couldn't risk jail, couldn't risk losing any chance of seeing you again. So I left. But I never stopped watching from afar. Every art show opening, I'd scan the crowd, hoping you'd somehow find your way there. Every painting I've created has pieces of you in it, the daughter I see in my dreams. I'm including something with this letter, proof I've kept for 20 years. A folded paper fell from the envelope. A paternity test, dated shortly after my birth. Positive. He tried everything, Edith said softly. Lawyers, private investigators, even tried reaching out to your school once. Catherine always stayed one step ahead. Why? Why go to such lengths to keep him away? Control. Jealousy. When Lucas's career started taking off, Catherine couldn't handle sharing the spotlight. She wanted you all to herself. My phone buzzed. Mom calling again. I declined it. Lucas still lives here in Pine Harbor, Edith continued. Different house now. Keeps to himself mostly, but he never stopped painting you. Painting me? How? She led me to a back room filled with canvases. There, propped against the wall, was a series of portraits. A little girl aging through the years, all with my eyes, my smile. The most recent showed a woman about my age, standing by the ocean. He painted from memory, then imagination, Edith explained. Said it was the only way he could watch you grow up. Tears blurred my vision. I need to meet him. Are you sure? There's no going back once. A sharp knock at the front door cut her off. Through the window I glimpsed a familiar face. Aunt Abigail, I whispered. Edith's expression tightened. Right on schedule. Abigail burst in without waiting for an invitation. Evangeline, thank God I caught you. She looked haunted, desperate. There's more you need to know, but it'll hurt. More than finding out my entire life is built on lies. Much more. She pulled out her phone, showing me a photo. This was taken the day before Catherine filed the restraining order. Look at the date. The image showed Mom at a lawyer's office signing papers. But it was the calendar on the wall behind her that made my blood run cold. The date was 2 weeks before the incident she'd claimed made Lucas dangerous. She planned it, I breathed. Set him up. That's not all, Abigail's voice cracked. There's a reason she chose that specific time to act. A reason she was so desperate to cut Lucas out completely. Why? Because she'd just discovered something that would destroy her perfect narrative. Abigail gripped my hand. Lucas wasn't the only one keeping secrets, Evangeline. Your mother was hiding something too. Something bigger than all of us. The room seemed to tilt sideways as I waited for her next words, knowing they would shatter whatever remained of my childhood memories. Your mother was pregnant again, Abigail said, her words hitting like physical blows. With Lucas's second child. I gripped the armchair to steady myself. What? She terminated the pregnancy and filed the restraining order the same week. Lucas never knew. Abigail's hands shook as she pulled out more documents. I worked at the clinic back then. That's how I found out. Did she... My throat felt desert dry. Did she keep other siblings from me? No, but she was terrified Lucas would discover the pregnancy. It would have destroyed her narrative about him being dangerous, unstable. So she acted first. Edith touched my shoulder. There's more. More, I laughed bitterly. How could there possibly be more? The restraining order hearing, Abigail said. I was there. Catherine made me testify against Lucas. Said if I didn't, she'd reveal my own secrets to the family. What secrets? I had a drinking problem back then. Was about to lose custody of my kids. Catherine knew everything. She always did, so I lied under oath. Said I'd seen Lucas acting erratically, following you home from school. My phone buzzed again. Mum's text read, "Come home now, we need to talk." She used everyone, I whispered. Manipulated all of us. Lucas fought hard, Edith added. Spent everything he had on lawyers. But Catherine had built her case perfectly. Every witness, every piece of evidence, all orchestrated months in advance. The final hearing broke him, Abigail continued. Catherine brought in a child psychologist who testified that any contact with Lucas would be traumatic for you. Said you were already showing signs of anxiety from his stalking. But I never even met him. Exactly. It was all fabricated. But the judge believed her. Lucas was banned from coming within 500 feet of you or Catherine. I stood up, pacing the room. So he just gave up? No. Edith walked to a closet, pulling out a large portfolio. He channeled everything into his art. Every piece he created was a message to you. The portfolio contained photographs of paintings, dozens of them. Each one featured a young girl growing older through the collection. Me, but not me. Lucas's vision of the daughter he'd lost. His last exhibition was called Letters Never Sent, Edith explained. It nearly destroyed your mother's carefully constructed story. That's why she made sure you never saw any art magazines or local gallery news. I need to see him, I said. Now. He's not the same person, Abigail warned. 20 years of forced separation. It changes someone. I pulled up my email on my phone, found the gallery's old contact information, and typed quickly. My name is Evangeline. I found your letters. Everything I knew was a lie. Please, can we meet? You sure about this? Edith asked. I've never been more sure of anything. My phone pinged an hour later. One line from Lucas. If it's true, I need to see you. Abigail grabbed my arm. Wait. Before you go, there's something you should know about Catherine's current life. She's built herself quite the reputation in your hometown. Head of the PTA, social committees, charity boards. Her whole identity is wrapped up in being the perfect single mother who protected her child from an unstable father. Good, I said, a plan already forming. That gives her more to lose. Evangeline, Edith cautioned, revenge isn't always the answer. This isn't about revenge, it's about truth. 27 years of lies are enough. I gathered the documents, the photos, the proof of my mother's elaborate deception. Tomorrow, I'd meet Lucas. But tonight, I had research to do. My phone buzzed one more time. Cole, please come home, your mum's worried sick. I blocked his number. Looking at the paintings of the girl I might have been, growing up with both parents, I felt something harden inside me. Mom had stolen my chance at that life. Now it was time to show her exactly what her perfectly constructed house of lies had cost. Where can I find a good lawyer in Pine Harbour? I asked. Abigail and Edith exchanged glances. I know someone, Edith said quietly. But are you ready for what comes next? I stared at the latest portrait. The woman by the ocean, free and unafraid. I've been ready my whole life. I just didn't know it. The cafe where I agreed to meet Lucas was quiet, just a few morning regulars scattered among mismatched tables. I'd arrived 20 minutes early, hands wrapped around a cooling coffee, heart thundering against my ribs. The bell above the door chimed. A tall man with silver-streaked dark hair stepped inside, artist's hands clutching a leather portfolio. He scanned the room, and I saw my own eyes staring back at me. Evangeline, his voice cracked on the last syllable. I stood, nearly knocking over my coffee. Lucas? We stood there, awkward, neither sure how to bridge 27 years of absence. Finally, he gestured to the chair across from me. I brought something, he said, opening the portfolio. "Every year on your birthday, I'd paint what I imagined you might look like." He laid out the paintings, creating a timeline of my ghost life. "Sometimes I'd see you from afar. School plays, soccer games. I'd hide in the back just to catch a glimpse. Mom said you never tried to contact me. I wrote hundreds of letters, called until she changed her number, sent birthday gifts that were returned unopened." He pulled out a stack of postal receipts. "I kept everything, proof I never stopped trying." The waitress appeared with fresh coffee. Lucas waited until she left before continuing. "The restraining order was based on lies. Catherine had it all planned. The witnesses, the evidence of stalking. She even staged photos of me supposedly following you at school. Aunt Abigail told me about the pregnancy," I said quietly. His face went pale. "What pregnancy?" I explained what I'd learned. Lucas gripped the table edge, knuckles white. We could have had..." He closed his eyes. "That explains the timing. I'd just sold my first major collection. We were talking about shared custody. Then suddenly I'm served with papers calling me dangerous." "Why didn't you fight harder?" "I did." He pulled out court documents, hands shaking. "Spent every penny I had. But Catherine had thought of everything. She even had your pediatrician testify that you showed trauma symptoms from my harassment. By the time I realised how thoroughly she'd set me up, it was too late." A man at a nearby table was watching us too intently. Lucas noticed too. "Let's walk," he suggested. Outside, the coastal breeze carried salt and secrets. We walked along the harbour, decades of unspoken words between us. "I have something else," Lucas said, stopping at a bench. He pulled out an envelope. "The original paternity test. Catherine tried to destroy all copies, but I kept this one safe." Inside was also a photo, Lucas holding newborn me, his face radiant with joy. "That was the only time I got to hold you," he said softly. "The next day, Catherine said I was too unstable to be around an infant. A week later, the restraining order was filed." "Did you love her?" I asked. "My mother?" "I loved who I thought she was, but Catherine, she needed control more than love. When she realised I wouldn't let her dictate every aspect of our lives, she decided to erase me completely." My phone vibrated. Another text from Mum. "Whatever lies they're telling you, don't believe them. Come home now." "She's still trying to control everything," I said, showing Lucas the message. "Be careful," he warned. "Catherine doesn't handle losing control well when she realises you know the truth. I'm not afraid of her anymore. You should be. She destroyed my life with a few well-placed lies. Imagine what she might do to protect her reputation now." Back at my hotel that evening, I found the door slightly ajar. Inside, my room had been ransacked. The letters from the attic box were gone. In their place, written on the mirror in lipstick, "Be careful where you dig." I called Lucas immediately. "Someone broke in," I said. "The letters are gone." "It's starting," he replied grimly. "Catherine's realising she's losing her grip on the narrative. Pack your bags. You can stay at my place. It's not safe at the hotel anymore." As I threw clothes into my suitcase, I noticed something else missing. My laptop, with all the scanned copies of the evidence. Mum's next text chilled me to the bone. "I always knew what was best for you. Don't make me prove it again." I drove home the next morning, my phone recording app quietly running in my pocket. Mum was waiting in the kitchen, a familiar false smile plastered on her face. "Darling, I'm so glad you're back. This little adventure of yours has gone far enough." "Adventure?" I placed Lucas's paternity test on the counter. "Is that what you call hiding my father from me for 27 years? Her smile cracked slightly. "I protected you from a dangerous man." "Stop lying!" I slammed my hand on the counter. "I know everything. The fake witnesses, the staged photos, the second pregnancy." The colour drained from her face. "Who told you about Aunt Abigail? Turns out guilt eventually wins over fear." She recovered quickly, smoothing her expression. "You don't understand. Lucas would have ruined everything. He wanted joint custody, wanted to take you to art shows, expose you to that unstable lifestyle. You mean like this? I pulled out my phone, showing her photos of Lucas's paintings. 27 years of birthdays he imagined. 27 years of letters you hid. Tell me, Mum, who's really unstable here? I did what any good mother would do, she hissed, mask finally slipping. You think Lucas would have chosen you over his precious art career? He was already talking about gallery tours, extended trips abroad. You were better off without him. Better off believing I was abandoned. Better off watching you play the martyred single mother at every PTA meeting. I built us a perfect life. You built yourself a perfect lie. I pressed record on my phone. Tell me about the pregnancy you terminated without telling Lucas. How dare you? Tell me about forcing Aunt Abigail to lie in court, about staging the stalking photos, about threatening Lucas with jail if he didn't disappear. Fine. She slammed her coffee cup down, liquid splattering across the counter. You want the truth? Yes, I got rid of the second pregnancy. Lucas was becoming too demanding, wanting equal time with you. I couldn't let him take you away from me, so I handled it. By destroying his life? By protecting what was mine. You think your precious father was some innocent victim? He was going to drag you into his chaotic world of galleries and travelling exhibitions. I saved you from that instability. You saved your own reputation, I corrected. The devoted single mother, sacrificing everything for her child. Must have felt good, all those sympathetic looks, all that community support. Everything I did for us. No, everything you did for control. And now you've lost it. Her eyes narrowed. What do you mean? I pulled out my phone, stopped the recording. Funny thing about reputation, it's fragile. One wrong story, one exposed lie. You wouldn't dare. Watch me. I headed for the door. By the way, breaking into my hotel room. Amateur move. I had everything backed up to the cloud. Evangeline. Her voice held a note of panic I'd never heard before. If you do this, you'll destroy everything I've built. My position on the school board, the charity committee. You should have thought of that before you destroyed my chance to know my father. He'll disappoint you, she called after me. They always do. I turned back one last time. The only disappointment here is you, Mom. And now everyone's going to know exactly what kind of mother you really are. Back in my car, hands shaking, I sent the recording to 3 people. Lucas's lawyer, a local journalist known for exposing community scandals, and Aunt Abigail. My phone immediately lit up with texts from Mom. Don't you dare! I'll deny everything. You're making a terrible mistake. I blocked her number. Lucas called moments later. Are you okay? No, I admitted, but I will be. How fast can your lawyer move on this? He's already drafting the press release. Catherine's carefully constructed image is about to crumble. Good. I started my car. I want everyone to know what she did. Every lie, every manipulation, every person she hurt to maintain her control. Where are you heading? I looked at the house I grew up in, the perfect facade hiding so many dark secrets. Back to Pine Harbour. I think it's time I got to know my real family. As I drove away, Mum stood in the doorway, watching her house of cards begin to fall. 27 years of lies were about to catch fire, and I'd lit the match. The article dropped like a bomb 3 days later. Mother of Deception. How one woman's quest for control destroyed lives. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since. Have you seen the comments? Lucas asked over breakfast at his studio. The school board is calling an emergency meeting. I scrolled through the local news website. The story had exploded, with former acquaintances coming forward with their own accounts of Mum's manipulations. She's been asked to resign from all her committees, Aunt Abigail reported, pouring more coffee. The charity board is particularly furious. Apparently she's been controlling their donations for years. My phone lit up with Cole's name again. I declined the call. Still not talking to him? Lucas asked. He had his chance to stand by me, chose his comfortable life instead. The studio doorbell rang. Edith hurried in, waving a newspaper. "You need to see this. Catherine's trying to spin the story." The article quoted Mom claiming she'd been misunderstood and had only acted out of maternal protection. The comments section told a different story, dozens of people sharing similar experiences of her manipulation. "She's losing everything," I said, feeling strangely hollow. "Her reputation, her social standing. You're not responsible for her choices," Lucas reminded me, squeezing my hand. "She did this to herself." My phone buzzed with a text from Cole. "Please talk to me. Your mom's a mess. She needs you." I typed back, "Like I needed a father for 27 years. "Eve," he replied, "everyone makes mistakes. She's still your mother. Being a mother doesn't excuse destroying lives," I wrote. "Goodbye, Cole." Lucas was watching me. "You okay?" "No, but I'm done pretending everything's fine just to make other people comfortable." The doorbell rang again. This time it was a reporter from the local news station. "We'd like to do a follow-up story," she explained. "There are rumours about other families Catherine might have manipulated over the years." Lucas started to refuse, but I stepped forward. "Actually, I'll talk. People need to know the truth about false accusations and parental alienation." The interview aired that evening. I watched myself on screen, calm and composed, laying out the evidence of Mom's decades-long deception. The station's phone lines lit up with calls from other victims of similar situations. "You've started something bigger than us," Lucas said quietly. My phone chimed with a message from an unknown number. "I think Catherine kept other secrets, big ones. Meet me at the Pine Harbour Diner tomorrow. Edith." The next morning I found Edith in a back booth, clutching a worn envelope. "I've been going through old papers," she said. "Found something interesting from around the time Catherine filed the restraining order." She slid over a faded hospital record. "Look at the dates." I scanned the document, my heart stopping at one particular entry. "This says... but that would mean... Catherine was in the hospital for a delivery 3 years before you were born," Edith confirmed. "There might be another child out there, one she gave up before she met Lucas." The diner seemed to spin around me. "A half-sibling." The timing matches some old rumours about Catherine leaving town suddenly that year. "Lucas needs to know. This could change everything." My phone lit up with Mom's first message in days. "You've destroyed everything I built. I hope you're happy." I typed back, "Now you know how abandonment feels." Then I forwarded her the hospital record with one question. "Any other secrets you'd like to confess?" Her response was immediate. "Where did you get that?" "The truth always comes out, Mom. Always." I looked up at Edith. "How do we find this person? My sibling." "I have a name," she said, "and a last known location. But Evangeline, are you sure you want to pull this thread? Some secrets are meant to be exposed," I finished. "We've come this far. No stopping now." As if on cue, my phone chimed with a new message from a name I didn't recognise. "I saw your story on the news. I think we might be related. Would you like to meet?" Edith read the message over my shoulder and gasped. "That's the name. That's your half-sibling." The walls of secrets Mom had built were crumbling faster than anyone expected, and somewhere in the rubble, more truth waited to be found. Mom showed up at Lucas's studio unannounced, her perfectly maintained facade cracking at the edges. She looked smaller somehow, standing in the doorway while morning light streamed through the windows. "I suppose you've come to explain the hospital records?" I asked, not moving to let her in. "I was 18, she said quietly. "Too young. His name is Michael. I gave him up for adoption." Lucas appeared behind me. "And you never thought to mention this?" "I buried it. Started fresh. When I met you," she looked at Lucas, "I thought I could create the perfect family, but then you wanted joint custody, wanted to share our daughter, and I couldn't. I couldn't lose control again. So you destroyed everyone instead, I said. I protected what was mine. I was never yours to keep, I shot back. I belonged to both of you, and now I belong to myself. She flinched. Michael contacted you, didn't he? Yes, we're meeting tomorrow. Funny how he turned out to be a gallery owner in Seattle. Art runs in the family, apparently. You can't... Please, her voice cracked. That part of my life needs to stay buried. Like Lucas needed to stay buried. Like the truth needed to stay buried. I stepped closer. You don't get to decide anymore, Mom. Your secrets don't control us now. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. The school board meeting is today, she whispered. They're voting to remove me. Actions have consequences. Is this what you wanted? To see me lose everything? Lucas spoke up. Like you wanted me to lose everything? My daughter, my reputation, my chance at being a father. Mom's shoulders sagged. I never meant... Yes, you did, I cut in. You meant every manipulation, every lie, every calculated move. But here's what you didn't mean to do. You didn't mean to make me stronger. Strong enough to face truth instead of hiding from it. What do you want from me? Nothing. Not anymore. I handed her a folder. These are copies of everything. The letters, the court documents, the hospital records. Keep them. Remember what happens when lies become your foundation. Evangeline, please. Goodbye, Mom. I hope you find peace with your choices. I already have. After she left, Lucas pulled out an old leather journal. I've been waiting for the right moment to give you this. It's every thought, every hope I had for us while you were growing up. Every dream of teaching you to paint, of watching you discover your own path. I opened it carefully. The pages were filled with sketches. A little girl holding a paintbrush, sitting at an easel, walking on a beach. We can't get those years back, he said, but we can build something new, something real. My phone buzzed. Michael, just landed in Pine Harbor, ready when you are. He's here, I told Lucas. Want to meet your daughter's brother? Lucas smiled. Our family keeps growing. At the cafe where this all began, Michael waited. A tall man with Mom's eyes but an artist's paint-stained hands. We talked for hours, filling in the gaps of our separate lives, finding connections in our shared love of art and truth. I never expected to find a sister, he said, let alone one who blew the lid off our mother's carefully constructed world. Truth has a way of surfacing, I replied, like art. You can't bury creativity or reality forever. Later that night, standing in Lucas's studio, I picked up a paintbrush for the first time. The canvas before me was blank, terrifying and full of possibility. Where do I start? I asked. Anywhere, Lucas said. That's the beauty of a fresh canvas. The story is yours to tell. I dipped the brush in paint the colour of secrets and truth, making the first stroke across white space. Behind me, Michael and Lucas watched in comfortable silence as I began creating something new from the ashes of old lies. My phone lit up one last time. Mom, I'm getting help, professional help. I hope someday you'll let me try again. I set the phone aside, focusing on the canvas. Some paintings need to be stripped down to blank canvas before something honest can emerge. Some truths need to be exposed to light before healing can begin. I kept painting, each stroke a word in a new story, one without locked boxes or hidden letters, one where truth, however painful, sets us free.